As we look back at WTAP's 70-year history, some viewers may remember the Big Red Jubilee. It was an hour-long program back in the 1960s. It featured different musical acts. I talked to some of the people involved with the show for this story.
If you talk to somebody that's up in years, you know, most still do remember the Big Red Jubilee.
That was Chuck Lips. His uncle, Carl Lips, was the general manager of Big Red Markets. Carl loved country music and had the idea of Big Red Markets sponsoring the Big Red Jubilee.
You know, he was a very smart businessman and, you know, knew how to put things together and organize things and, you know, and plan for the program. And I'm sure that he probably put a lot of thought into that before, you know, before it started. But like I said, it took off once they got it on the air.
Chuck was just a young boy at the time. The program started in 1963 and was in black and white.
I can remember, you know, my mom tell me, hey, your Uncle Carl's going to be on TV. He's got his own TV show now. And I remember we lived in Belpre and had to go out and turn that antenna, you know, to get the WTAP signal. But I know you could go in, you know, it was very limited because, you know, I remember some of my family going to the studio, the old studio, and watching the show live. And my uncle would always, at one point in the show, he would say, hey, I've got some of my family in the audience, and he'd put the camera on everybody.
Different country music singers and bands played on the show from 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursday nights.
Remember, there was a lot of local musicians. I remember a guy by the name of Junior Norman, Mark Burnfield. He just passed away recently. My Uncle Charlie King had a band together. He lived in Belpre, and he was on the show. But probably the most prevalent person that was ever on there was Connie Smith.
Larry Roberts worked in WTAP radio and was recruited to be the announcer and did the commercials.
I'll give you a little idea of what we did. She would do 2 or 3 songs, and we'll be back right after this. And then I would come up and say, hey, we'll be back to Connie in just a minute, but right now we want to tell you about some of the things at Big Red Market. Country Time Lemonade, on sale, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's it. Back to Connie, and then there you go.
Connie Smith was the headliner of the show. She was in her early 20s at the time. The Big Red Jubilee helped launch her country music career.
She was talented. I mean, you know, to find raw talent like that and to be able to do it live on TV and the following that she had, you know. Country fans were, I don't know about today, but back then they were one of the most loyal fans for artists, you know. They would wouldn't listen to you, and I see people today writing on Facebook about that Big Red Jubilee show.
She later made her way to Nashville and became a country music star with a #1 song. She performs at the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, she said in an interview somewhere before it ever happened, she says, I'm going to sing at the Grand Ole Opry. She predicted that, so, and that was the one thing that she wanted to do. But, you know, with talent like that, I mean, it's just, and it was so warm. It just came through so warm on the air. It was just, she was a sweetheart, you know. And with talent like that, it's just bound to happen.
I talked to Connie Smith on the phone. She said she enjoyed the show and that she had a great time with everyone involved.